Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So here we go. Existing homes, they fell 7.7%. However, consumer confidence is actually at an 8-month high. Now you might be saying, how is this possible? What the heck is going on? And there's a lot of mixed messages out there. And one of the key things for us in providing you this information is so you can make the best business decision when the time is right. But you get actual factual numbers. You know, you have lies, you have damn lies, and then you have statistics. And every single week, we just kind of spell it out. We look at our 7-day running average. We talk about what's pending as far as new on market versus what is going pended versus what is sold, and how the interest rates and what is going on with different loan programs. So today, understand we got some really great stuff going on. Make sure that you subscribe and share the information. One, it lets us know what you like, what you dislike. Ask questions. Look, there's no strings attached. There's no selling here. It's just really good information for you. All right. Now, before we get into this, remember, conforming loan limits technically have gone up. They've increased to where a conforming loan limit, 5% down, you can buy $1,025,000 house, because again, it is based on the county's median income and median home price. And what that does is gives Fannie and Freddie guidelines, and of course guidelines as to what would be the average type of income or home that somebody would purchase. And that is how that number arrives. It changes typically every year, and it has consistently gone up, which is super cool. Because then as we look at rates, so rates have been improving. They were at 7.3 back in October, early November, and then they started coming down. As those numbers started coming down, we started to see buyers coming back into the market. And that's super important to understand, because we start to differentiate ourselves a little bit from other markets. All right. So with that, let's hit some national news here. So first, consumer confidence, as we said, was on an 8-month high. And the National Association of Home Builders, NAHB, their reports stated that their confidence has dropped for the 12th month in a row. Most of that is because we have run into a lot of labor increases, material cost increases, along with, prices starting to, they started to shuffle down just a tad bit instead of heading up at the aggressive rate that they were. Now, this also means that they're back down to what we would call the 2012. I guess I'm doing that a lot. I won't do that anymore. 2012 is where this confidence level is kind of backed up to, but they feel that it's kind of floored out a little bit because material cost has been coming back down, which is super important, which means that they will be able to retain some of those margins without increasing prices, but they are still offering a ton of incentives. Now, understand, when we take a look at, and let's pop over here to our screen here. There we go. Note that new on market was at 258 homes, our average of the last 7 days. But look at this, our pended sales, they're at almost 800 homes. And then of course sold is at 730. And that is super important, because as we look at those numbers, if you're sitting there saying, I wonder if I should enter into the market, holy smokes, without a doubt, absolutely you should, because look, buyers should take action on back on market. There's 99 just this week alone, and that is a big deal. And why is that a big deal? Because those are sellers that lost their buyers. So they are going to be very motivated as far as being wanting to be under contract to get their home sold. It's a letdown when people walk away for a variety of different reasons. And it's just a great opportunity for a buyer to consider. So I wouldn't do that anymore, but I did. It's the same thing with builders. If you're looking at, some of your builders out there that are also publicly traded out in the stock market. Hey, listen, there is no better time than to be in front of these guys because you get best opportunities, best pricing. Now, you may not get a lower price necessarily, but the updates, upgrades, special improvements, additional features to your home, you can get up to $100,000 on some of the homes that we've worked with as far as getting features that you don't get normally. So keep that in mind. If you're working with an agent that is not familiar with new construction and dealing with builders, you may want to reconsider an option, or at least try and get them educated, or have them ask. We can always just say, here are things that you can do. So don't be shy. All right. With that, hey, let's head on to our next one. So when we talk about inventory, we talk about what we're doing. So a lot of folks kind of have a little freak out when they see the 207,000 available homes. When you take a look at last year, there was just shy of 3,000 homes that were out there. And so we added our own red line to show, hey, what we're looking at here is a standard trend. We're normally seeing this time of year trend downwards, then it tips February-ish, and then it heads back up again. It is seasonally normal for us to do as far as activity. But here's the funny thing. When you come back and we take a look at, again, what is Pended. What is Pended is almost 800 homes. It's basically 3 times more than what has come on market. So we're seeing a lot of buyer activity out there. And in fact, when we pop over to this next one, here's what's super interesting. So you can see the highlighted section in December. You see that we had 2,978 last year. And then nothing really changed, inventory-wise. Crept up a little bit till March, but really April and May, right? So April and May, we started to see the interest rates really start to climb up. So we went from the low 4s, then all of a sudden, boom, we started hitting the 5s. Boom, we hit the 6s. And then in October, November, boom, we hit 7.3%. So now we're twice the interest rate almost of what we were. And of course, that pulled a lot of buyers back because interest rates are the number one contributor to our market slowing down, which is not a bad thing. A market slowing down, stopping the crazy escalations allows the stability of pricing so that homeowners, people who do own their home, we don't create the bubble. We actually create a more level playing field, a better stability of your investment. And if we see a little bit of devaluation in some areas, hey, it's going to happen. But here's what's super important. Existing home sales may have fell 7.7%, okay? But the median price actually rose 3.5% annually, nationwide. Locally, I think we're actually closer to 6.5%. So that's super important to remember and consider as you're looking at different homes. Now, when we pop over, we take a look at some of the national news. So the National Association of Realtors said, look, existing homes in the West fell 12.5%. Now, let's be super clear about this, right? We're talking about home sales. We're not talking about prices, right? Home volume of home sales, right, actually fell 12.5%. And from October, and which is down 45.7% from last year. But what's super important, right, when we get back to this, we saw a 2% increase, from November of 2021. All right, well, that's no big deal. The West experienced the largest decline in home sales and the smallest increase in home prices, just during this short window, and not unexpected considering that our average sales price is 3 times higher. As an example, super cool information, right? So cash sales are actually up 39%, or I should say that's not correct. Cash sales are 39% of closed transactions, all right? Which on average, we should be about 22%. So it's taken a big jump. Now, that is also in the lesser valued areas. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but when your median price is $339,000, $390,000, that is different than $1 million or $980,000. Okay, that's totally different. So our cash sales are about 19% for the Puget Sound. Well, I should say, King in Snohomish County, they're about 19%, which is still higher because there's a lot of folks saying, "Oh, there's no cash sales going on," and yes, there is. Just understand that when you have a significantly higher price point, when the median price point again is $980,000 to $1,050,000, cash sales aren't quite as common, but they are still not as high as from April of 2020 through the early parts of 2022. Okay, well, I understand interest rates were super low then, and it didn't make sense to put all your money down when you were able to borrow at 3.5%, 4%. It just made sense to get financing. That's just fiscally smart. Anyway, so there's a little bit of disparity as to why the cash sales have bumped up versus where they were between 2020 and 2022, first part of 2022. Let's qualify that. I guess 2020 and 2021. All right, now, super cool information here. Let's move on to our next slide. So as you can see, our mortgage rates, according to Freddie Mac, 6.27%. But here's what's super interesting. When you take a look at Redfin statistics, they said the housing market update, basically homes cost roughly about $300 a month, $300 a month less today than they did in October. This is what we've been trying to tell you guys, and including when some of the tenants or renters out there are saying, "Hey, listen, now is a good time because you can fix that monthly housing cost, which is typically your largest monthly expense, for what you dole out every single month, as far as costs. That's going to go up next year. Right now, tenants and renters are paying, 2.2% more because of inflation and housing costs than somebody who's on a fixed mortgage, right? Now, when we take a look at the next one, we say, okay, so if interest rates are down, there's more inventory. Why aren't buyers getting out there? Well, they are, because when we take a look at, again, some of the statistics and we talk about what's been happening Pended-wise, buyers are out there, and that's why we've seen a definite resurgence in what is going on. So Redfin here says, look, FHA loans have bounced back, hitting the highest shares in almost 2 years. And you can see this is conventional loan, which is the gray line. The red line is FHA, and then, of course, this line down below is VA. But understand, because we're dealing with a lot of folks that are, FHA allows more flexibility on credit scores and whatnot. And so we're seeing those loan programs start to take effect. Now, if you're a seller, super important to understand. If you have an FHA loan, a VA loan, you can do the same thing. It's just if you have a VA loan, you need to sell to a vet, okay, another VA qualified person. However, when we take a look at FHA loans are assumable. Now, if you have an FHA loan that is, say, in the 4s or the 3%, and you want to get a higher and better price, hey, we've got a program for you. We've been noodling on this because we always think outside of the box. If you have a loan and you want to maximize your price, in fact, make yourself better than everybody else and probably get I'd say anywhere between 1% to 3% more than the neighbor's house, give me a call. I'm going to show you how to do that and make yourself people will swarm over your house. But you got to call me or email me, send me a message. And I'll tell you how to do it. It doesn't matter who your agent is, but I'll just tell you how to do it. And this way it'll prompt you to reach out and ask us another great question. Anyway, all right, moving on. So when we take a look at our next slide here, this is super important for you guys, for anybody that is on the fence who needs additional money, income to qualify for a better home. Freddie Mac now has the accessory dwelling unit program. Now you might say, what the heck is that? So an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU, it's like having a mother-in-law or an apartment, right? Or if the home can be made into it. Many split levels are Mid-entry homes, those where you have the stairs up and the stairs down. When you walk in the front door, you go up, you have to go down. It's called a split level or a mid-entry home, depending on where you're at. And those make perfect homes for like a mother-in-law or a detached ADU or a ADU that is within the home. If it is conforming and it meets the lending guidelines, okay, you can go up to 3 units. Well, think about this. So if you have a house in a lot of municipalities, and including some manufactured homes do qualify as a detached ADU, you can actually take that income and apply that to a loan program according to Freddie Mac. Super cool. Let's take a look at this. All right. So when we come back, they have this ADU program. Okay. And when we pop over here, you can use, right, income from the ADU in the amount of 30% of the total income used to qualify. Now, you might ask, why is that important? Well, if you look at a house, and this is very common in some of the cities, especially in Seattle and Tacoma. So when you take a look at a lot of homes have ADUs, or they talk about an ADU. So you can rent that, and then you get credit of that income to help you with that purchase. And that allows you to have a rental, as they put it, on your home, which has been unheard of before. So this is a super cool program. So let's jump back into this again. So we take a look at the next slide. You can see that they allow up to 3 units right in here. Well, an ADU must comply with the zoning. That's no big deal because most approved ADUs are exactly that. They have already been through the process. And there's municipalities out there that are creating the special use to incentivize people coming in. Even Tacoma right now, during their One Tacoma program, where they're changing zoning to basically encourage ADUs and DADUs, detached ADUs, so that you can do this. Plus, there's a loan program to help facilitate that and get the credit of the rental income. How could you go wrong with that, right? Okay, so when we move on to our next one, all right. Again, the rental income that is documented must have a lease and cannot exceed 75% of the lease amount, right? Okay, no big deal. You can, again, get the credit for rent, which is super cool. The only thing is, you got to go get, if you're not a seasoned investor, you do need to go and get landlord training. That's a given, right? If you're going to act as a landlord, you should at least know the laws. And I think that is a massive benefit. Nonetheless, absolutely super cool when you talk about getting everything as far as new programs, thinking outside of the box. Freddie Mac's doing a really great job. So if you, at one point, you thought, gosh, I'm so close to getting a home, you can now look at that house. And if it has an ADU, you can say, listen, you know what? I can rent that out, get some income credit. I now qualify. Super cool, right? Now, remember, because our lending limits actually went up also, you can now also look at those higher price points and rent the property out if that was your intent anyway, or extended family, whatever it might be, and it allows you to finance that in. Super cool, right? So at the end of the day, final message is this. Yes, inventory is down. And in fact, we were down to like 9,000 and change homes today, whereas in October, we were at like 13,000 homes, all right? And so we're drawing down inventory. Pended sales are up for us. Home prices are heading still on a gradual upward trend. They are not necessarily coming down. Don't confuse escalations with actual market value. Those are 2 different numbers altogether, okay? We will start to see some pullback, as we transition, but interest rates are down 1% from where they were just a month ago or a month and a half ago. And we figured that in Q1, towards the end of Q1, I anticipate rates coming back down into the 5 percentile. It'll be short, it will be brief, and the buyers are going to come out of the woodwork, and it is going to be mayhem and bedlam. Boop, then it's going to stop, and then we will move on. Might see it again in Q4 again, but reality is we're going to see some pretty good stuff over the next quarter. and time will tell. We're normally pretty accurate. So remember, subscribe, share the channel. Make sure that you're providing questions because we love to answer them. We normally do it within 30 minutes, except for on Sundays. In the meantime, you guys have an absolutely fantastic Christmas. Happy New Year to all of you. And I will see you on the next video. Take care.